What's your worst overprotective strict parent story? Whenever I wanted to hang out with someone my parents didn't know, they would call the school and personally ask teachers about that said student and have a grading sheet based on what the teacher says. Needless to say, I spent a lot of time hanging out with insert name parents knew but was somewhere else. My parents once called the police when I didn't answer the phone for an hour. I was 17 and sleeping. In high school, my dad forbid me to talk to anyone of the opposite sex. After being caught at the bowling alley on a double date with my boyfriend, he threatened to taser me in the car home in front of my friend. After a week of his anger not subsiding, I just took it and said okay to everything he said and all the punishments. He became angry with my lack of emotional response to his psychological punishments, so he called the police to have me escorted out of the home and have me taken to some sort of juvie shelter. Thankfully, I already had a backup plan in place with my friend, whose parents and my mom gave consent for me to stay there. They read my diary when I was like 12, didn't speak to me for weeks afterwards as it was apparently offensive to Islam. My mom read my diary last summer. I was grounded. Heck, I don't even know why. I only talked about my crush, school, and sports. Nothing special, no drugs, nothing bad. I was just grounded for not confiding in your parents. Gee, I guess I really can't trust you for reading my personal collection of thoughts and secrets that is undeniably private. I'll tell you everything now. Oh boy, do I have lots of fodder for this one. I'm a college student, not allowed to watch kissing scenes on TV. I'm 19, not allowed to talk to boys, ever. Not allowed to talk to a girl with the door closed. I'm a girl, not allowed to hang out with my friends. I only did that just once for the last day of high school. Need to call every time before I go to class, after I go to class, when I fall asleep and when I wake up, or before any major event. Usually 10-12 calls a day. This has been decreased to about 6. Yay, progress. Discouraged from doing any household chores throughout middle and high school so I could focus on my studies. I'm 19 and I don't know how to wash my clothes or use the dishwasher. My neighbor would never let her son eat anything that she hadn't personally given to him. I don't mean like she had to personally cook it or anything. She just had to be the one giving it to him. If he ever went to people's houses to play or birthday parties, she'd pack him a lunch with a protein shake thing and a yogurt and a cereal bar or something. We thought it was because he had some kind of dietary requirements or allergies or something, but no, she just didn't want other people feeding her son. That's really weird. Meet my first best friend when I was 7. We were so close for the next 9 years. He was only allowed to go to school, his house and my house. We'd hang almost every day. He jumped out of a balcony and timed it so that his mother would see it when she was returning from work. Crap sucked. Brother was killed at 14, so I'm not allowed to leave the house on my own. I'm 20. My dad is friends with this couple whose son was failing a bunch of classes. Instead of taking away the kid's phone or something, they moved everything in his room to a storage facility except for his mattress, pillow, and duvet. They even painted his walls white. The kid got so bored staring at the ceiling he studied and finished the year with all A's. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. My cousin broke up with her college boyfriend, who then wanted to get back with her. My cousin's mom, my aunt, made the boyfriend write an apology letter to everyone in my family because of the distress he caused. The only reason we knew he broke up with my cousin was because we received the apology letter in the mail. We were like, what the frick? I was 17 and going to see the movie Across the Universe with my friends. I asked and received permission for the time and movie. However, I failed to tell my parents of the nudity in the film. They looked it up online when I was already sitting in the theater and was in trouble when I got home for seeing a PG-13 movie at 17. The only nudity is the main girl's boob. I have 2 of those. I looked this up for research, and that is the most non-existent nudity in a movie claiming to have nudity I have ever seen. My mom isn't that strict, but she is overprotective and gets insane when she doesn't know what is happening. I live on a different continent at this point, and it still took about a year to convince her that if 2 days pass without me emailing I am alive, it is still reasonable to assume I am. My mom and brother came to visit me in NY and we went to Empire State Building. My mom was already there, so me and my brother went alone. He was telling me how she keeps freaking out at home when I am out of touch, and we were waiting in line for a long time. So we started joking that she is probably freaking out even now. She was right there. She just didn't go up with us. When we came down, she really was talking to a cop already. Most embarrassing was when I was in high school and went on a date to watch Bruce Almighty, and she knew that, but didn't hear that I was going for a movie. It was pretty late. I didn't look at my cell phone at all and didn't put it on vibrate, but I checked it in the middle of the film. And I had tons of missed calls from her plus texts from my friends begging me to talk to my mother, and WTF am I doing? I went to a restroom to give her a call, but she wasn't there to be contacted because she rushed out, leaving her phone to search for me. We live in a city. How the frick would she find me is a question. I ended up missing half of the movie. Fun times. I wasn't allowed to watch Rugrats as a child because Angelica was too mean. The kids in the show were younger than I was and I couldn't watch it. I heard of a lot of kids with this rule. So stupid. Did anybody else have a stepfather who forced them to vacuum the front lawn daily? Anybody? I went to high school with a girl who graduated with honors, aced the SAT and got into a very prestigious university, one of the top 20 in US news. Her parents didn't want her away from their supervision and made her go to a community college for 2 years and then finish her degree at a much less prestigious university in the same city. She had to live at home and commute to campus. When she graduated, they informed her that she was now allowed to date and have a boyfriend if she wanted, but still had to live at home until she got married. And no, they are not immigrants from a conservative country, nor are they very religious. My 18-year-old girlfriend of 3 years, I was 19, told her mom that we were sexually active and she banned us from talking and filed a restraining order. Haven't talked to her since. When I was 22 and my then boyfriend was leaving home to work at the international music camp for the summer, we were trying to say goodbye before he drove off, but his mom just wouldn't stop hovering. The BF gave her one last hug and suggested as politely as possible that we would like to say goodbye privately. She got all sad and fled into the house sobbing, but not before exclaiming, "Oh, fine. Let it be her touch you feel on you all the way to music camp, and not mine." It was one of the most awkward moments of my life. For a second I thought to your mom and was really confused. That aside, that would be awkward. My mum called the police on me once because I was an hour late and wasn't answering the phone. I can't be out after dark. 9 PM lights out on a school night. Can't sleep over at anyone's house that isn't family. I thought this would stop once I turned 18, but nope. This list is my teenage years. Basically, no curfew, but more like be home after the movie is over. Like, my parents would do calculations and figure out when they expected the movie to end. I had about 15 minutes to get home. My parents are both bat-crap insane Indian parents. My mom is clingy as frick and my dad is just a general douchebag. Both of my parents are also racist, sexist, homophobic, and even classist, which is ironic because they were once incredibly poor and they know firsthand how difficult it is to escape poverty. So my parents instantly dislike anyone who isn't identical to them. My mom thinks me and my sister are going to end up getting murdered if we stay out past 11. I'm 21 and she is 24. If either of us doesn't come home by that time, we both end up getting 20 text messages. It's even worse for my sister, who is treated like total crap because she is female. My parents won't even let her talk to her male friends in their presence. My mom actually told my sister that she should just drop out of school to become a housewife. The funny thing is that my sister is going to join the foreign service and my parents don't even know. But that's a story for another day. My dad is a controlling butthole. When I was a teenager, I would spend my days on the computer reading about computer science and infosec, because I find it fascinating. Apparently, that was unacceptable, because I was supposed to become a doctor and open a freaking convenience store, like a typical brown person. So my dad set up a freaking firewall on our router. I couldn't access my favorite websites, which were pretty much all academic informational sites, without a proxy. My entire internet connection was disabled after 9 PM in the summer, and when I had a working internet connection, it was bandwidth limited to 65 kbps. He did all of this so I would become a living stereotype. I managed to get around all his restrictions eventually. Joke's on him, because now I'm about to graduate with a degree in computer science and I even landed a job doing R&D for a triple-letter agency. This is the just tip of the iceberg. This isn't even the worst of it. Last year, at Ole Miss, a mother tried to go through sorority recruitment with her daughter. She dressed like a freshman woman and tried to sneak into her daughter's recruitment group and attend the recruitment parties with her daughter. The recruitment counselors figured it out pretty quickly and the Greek life office had to have someone escort her out. I can't imagine how she thought her presence was going to help her daughter. My childhood friend was not able to sleep over at other people's houses until she was a senior in high school. Her mom had known me since grade school, and she still wasn't able to sleep over. Her mom also forbade her from going out of the house unless she kept her cell phone on her at all times and called her mom once she got to wherever she was going, and then once every hour after that. She has an older sister that moved a couple hours away because of her parents. One day her sister didn't pick up the phone the first time they called. Her mom assumed the worst and drove to her sister's house only to find out she didn't pick up because her phone was out of battery. My friend is in college now, and her parents told her she was to pick from a college nearby otherwise they would not support her. They bought her a condo near the uni she goes to so that she'll be stuck living by them until she finishes paying them back for the condo. Can you imagine being stuck in one major area your entire life? You wouldn't even be able to look for better jobs across the country because you're stuck living in one place. That would drive me crazy. At my university orientation, a mother asked if she could organize the foods that her son could eat and could not eat on his meal plan. She wanted to make sure he was getting the proper nutrition. One winter I was in high school. I was going to go to a friend's house who lived about 1/4 of a mile down the road. My dad told me I couldn't walk because it was icy out. I said, "Can I drive then?" and he said, "No, it's icy out." He then insisted on driving me and having me call him to pick me up later on. Then a couple months after I graduated from college, shortly before I moved away for a job, I was hanging out with a friend at about 11 o'clock at night and my dad called me and told me to come home because it was too late for me to be out. I told him I was too old for him to be telling me that and hung up. I told him I was too old for him to be telling me that and hung up. At least one of these stories involves standing up for oneself. I wasn't allowed to leave to go to college. I go to the local university and live at home. But currently, my brother is on another continent doing God knows what all the time. And it's honestly different because you are a girl. I feel bad because I've realized after a while, my parents need me. They are able to do without my irresponsible brother. It still doesn't make making friends and growing up any easier. Especially when all your high school friends left and everyone at college only hangs out when you don't want to get caught in traffic. Had a friend whose parents used to make her call them when she got to her friend's house next door. They could literally have stood on the porch and watch across the yard and go into the house with her friend, but she had to call and let them know she got there safely. They wanted her to be an astronaut. I wouldn't be surprised if she did become an astronaut just to get as far away from them as possible. I had a friend in high school who had extremely food protective parents. They were young, in their 30s, and very thin, attractive people. Their obsession with staying thin had the opposite effect on her, and she always had a little extra weight. But that didn't stop her parents from not allowing her to have seconds for dinner, not allowing her to eat junk food, and telling parents who hosted sleepovers or parties to not let her eat the snack food. Because of the heavy restrictions they put on her, she would eat snack foods when her parents weren't around and her weight ballooned. Fast forward several years, she's still overweight but finally happy and engaged, and also has almost no contact with her parents. I can't spend the night at any of my friends' houses unless my parents know the family, not even with one that I've known for over 10 years. You have been visited by the safety Stuart Little. Upvote in 16 seconds for 16 years of safe grinds. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.